After several failed experimental attempts to design and build a watercraft capable of independent underwater operation, we finally found success in the 19th century with the creation of the now iconic submarine. First widely used during the devastating events of World War I, it seems obvious in hindsight that many of these early subs would fall in battle, lost to the waters to never be seen again. But with the progression of modern technology, nothing lost to the oceans has to be lost forever, and experts have been finding more and more missing submarines in unexpected places. For example, the E-class submarine HMAS AE-1, originally known as the AE-1, was the very first submarine to serve in the Royal Australian Navy, but was sadly lost at sea on September 14, 1914, after no more than 7 months in service. 35 crew members were lost as the submarine mysteriously went down. With HMAS AE-1 being an interesting and vital piece of history, search missions to locate the wreckage began in 1976, but nothing was ever found. But finally, on December 13, 2017, a search mission involving the survey ship Virgo Equator proved to be the successful one, as HMAS AE-1 was found to the surprise and astonishment of everyone. The key to finally locating the sub after 12 failed tries and over more than 30 years was modern technology. With everything from deep-drop cameras to remotely operated vehicles to a magnetometer being used to explore every inch of water in a desperate hunt for clues. Australia's Chief of Navy, Vice Admiral Tim Barrett, is quoted saying, "Each time that we searched for the AE-1, the progression of technology has allowed us to learn a little bit more. All the clues were finally pieced together and led us right to it." During the survey of the wreckage, which was found at 980 feet underwater, HMAS AE-1 appeared to be well preserved and in one piece, proving that the submarine was not part of an enemy attack. So what happened and why did this watercraft sink? Rear Admiral Peter Briggs said that the likely cause was a diving accident. A team of researchers concluded that a ventilation valve, which would be open for fresh air when the submarine was cruising on the surface, was insecure when the submarine dived, causing a flood of the engine room, which in turn caused total loss of control, and as the submarine sank below 350 feet, it imploded. Another submarine that was lost over a century ago was the HMS G8. The British submarine was lost at sea and thought to have been gone forever, with no hope of ever being found. The date was December 27, 1913, and HMS G8 and its crew of 28 men was on its final patrol, making its way to the Kattegat Sea. It had been ordered to return to its base on the River Tees on January 3rd, but come January 6th, when it should have arrived, HMS G8 was nowhere to be seen. After a short-lived attempt to find the missing vessel, it was finally declared missing on January 14, 1913. For 105 years, the nature of what exactly happened to the HMS G8 remained an unanswered mystery. But that all changed in July of 2019 when the long-lost wreckage was finally found by researchers from the Jutland Sea War Museum. Using a 3D multi-beam scanner in the Skagerrak Sea, just north of Denmark, they were able to identify a wrecked submarine with a length and breadth matching the HMS G8's. Intrigued by this discovery, a submarine armed with a camera went exploring and was able to capture pictures of the wreckage that unequivocally confirmed it was the missing sub. The belief is that the HMS G8 sunk because of either an innocent accident or a simple onboard malfunction, with attack from an enemy being totally ruled out as a possible catalyst. This is because the submarines that have sunk due to battle have visible damage from mines or torpedoes. But the HMS G8 wreckage, much like the HMAS AE-1, has no damage of the sort. But it's not just vessels from those who opposed Nazi Germany and their allies that were lost at sea during the war. The I-400 class Imperial Japanese Navy submarines were the largest submarines built during World War II and remained the largest ever built until the 1960s when ballistic missile submarines were first constructed. The intention of the Japanese Navy had been to amass an entire fleet of these gargantuan subs, but at the end of World War II, they had only successfully built 3 of them. With a length of 400 feet and an operating depth of 330 feet, you would think that such a beast of a water vessel could never be lost. Yet that is far from the case. In 1946, one of these subs was successfully captured by U.S. forces, who intentionally sunk it. Watching as this behemoth was slowly enveloped by the waters and dragged down deep into the depths. But come August 2013, it was finally found by researchers at the Hawaii Research Laboratory just off the coast of the Hawaiian island Oahu, some 2,300 feet below sea level. Terry Kirby at the research laboratory is quoted as saying that finding this particular lost submarine had been on their to-do list for quite some time, but that finding it where they did was totally unexpected. This was because they had all been under the impression that the wreckage would be much farther out to sea than it actually ended up being. But even more unexpected than finding that last sub is finding a submarine not in the water at all, but lying in the middle of a jungle. Colombian drug runners had long managed to remain one step ahead of authorities at all times thanks to their borderline evil genius. While these homemade submersibles aren't capable of maneuvering or diving like the genuine article, they have still been successfully used to ship hundreds of tons of illegal drugs out of Colombia by delivering them across the seas. But in recent years, these ingenious career criminals have stepped up their game, and in doing so, essentially shot themselves in the foot. The scale of their operations caught a lot of attention, and when the authorities were alerted to the rumblings of one particular gang of Colombian smugglers who had set up something of a clandestine worksite deep in the jungles of northwestern Ecuador, a team of anti-narcotics commandos in a trio of helicopters were sent in to scan the area for any signs of an operation. Tipsters had warned the police that whatever it was the traffickers were attempting to build at the worksite was truly colossal and clearly part of a pretty major illegal trade operation. What they found was something far more substantial than the rickety old submersibles. At their rudimentary worksite, the smugglers had made a major technological breakthrough and had constructed a 75-foot-long vessel almost up to standard with a professionally built, fully functioning submarine. A far cry from the disposable hunks of junk they had been previously using. Another submarine that had been lost during World War II was the British HMS Tarpon N-17, which was sunk by a Nazi ship on the 10th of April 1940. A heavily armored German merchant vessel attacked and destroyed the submarine, sinking HMS Tarpon and its 50-man crew. But 76 years later, the wreckage was finally found beneath the waves off the coast of Denmark, and divers were promptly sent to investigate the curious findings. With many of the hatches opened, severe destruction to the tower, glass in the periscope shattered, and 2 missing torpedoes, it was clear that the sub had been engaged in a pretty nasty battle before it finally lost and sunk below the surface. Its rediscovery was all thanks to the team-up of UK marine archaeologist Dr. Innes McCarthy and Danish War Museum owner Gert Norman Andersen, who had come together to try and seek out wrecks from the First World War's Battle of Jutland, but ultimately found HMS Tarpon N-17 instead. In 1968, the La Minerva S-647 mysteriously vanished with 52 sailors aboard, never to be seen again. That is, not until 2018 when the French Navy unexpectedly located it on the seabed of the Mediterranean just off of Toulon, a port city on southern France's Mediterranean coast. La Minerva was on a military exercise when it vanished, and in the decades since, there have been many failed searches to find the lost vessel from the watery depths. But the families of the men who had been lost simply would not take "lost forever" as an answer, as they pressured the Navy into igniting an all-new search. With the latest equipment and technology to aid their hunt, the French Navy was able to map and model tides and currents in the Mediterranean, something they had not been able to do previously. Despite finding the wreckage, which had been broken into 3 separate pieces, they have not been able to determine the cause of the accident, though the families remain hopeful that continued investigations will provide answers as to what happened to those sailors all those years ago. They may have finally pressured the Navy into finding the sub, but now they are pressuring them into determining what happened. Thanks to the developments in technology, not all missing submarines take decades to be found. When the ARA San Juan sub disappeared 279 miles off the Argentine coast on November 15, 2017, it didn't ignite a 30-year-long mystery like it might have done in the 40s. The families of the men lost didn't have to wait as long as the families of the men in the Minerva for answers. A mere year and a day after it went missing, officials excitedly reported that they had found it, 2,620 feet below the surface of the Atlantic Ocean. The ARA San Juan was returning from a routine mission to Ushuaia when it experienced what was reported as an electrical breakdown. A spokesperson for the Navy informed reporters that water had entered the submarine and promptly dripped onto a battery tray in the prow, which caused the battery to short-circuit and smolder. The submarine had been ordered to abort its mission and return to a naval base in Mar del Plata ASAP. But the Argentine Navy lost contact with ARA San Juan shortly thereafter, and after 8 days of searching, declared the sub officially missing. The last thing reported was 8 days later when the Vienna-based Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization detected a strange noise that was speculated by the Argentine Navy to be the sound of the submarine imploding. 15 days after initially vanishing, the former rescue operation was abandoned. But despite this, the Argentine Navy still stumbled upon the wreckage just over a year later. It was found at a depth of 2,976 feet and it was 290 miles southeast of Comodoro Rivadavia. The imploded wreckage was widely spread across an area of 86,000 square feet. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more cool videos like this one, then please click the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to know when a new video arrives. Thanks for watching.